Gen Z men are lost. Why are so many men becoming right wing? Video by Isaac Butterfield. Now, it's been a while since I've made a video on Isaac, and let's revisit him. I mean, let's see what he's up to.
In this video, I want to work out if it's true. Are men becoming more right-wing? What does that even mean? And is it something that we should jump on and fix? Or is it a progression that is okay? Stick around to find out more, ladies and gentlemen, because we're about to do a deep dive into the worst people that have ever lived. Men. Okay, to understand what right wing is, you first need to understand what left wing is. It is the opposite. And if you Google left wing, it's going to tell you things like they are progressive. They love equality, especially economically. They love fighting for others, social justice. They love the environment and all those beautiful things that sound quite nice when you read them out like that. And of course, there is an age-old adage that says, find me a young person that isn't left-wing and I'll show you someone without a heart. And if you find me an old person that isn't right-wing, I'll show you someone without a brain. What does that allude to as this video goes on? I wonder if we'll find out. Particularly during my upbringing, I was led to believe that left-wing people, all they did was care about others. Now that may be true in some circumstances, possibly it is. And it was definitely true back then. Take for example, in Australia, the left-wing party, the Labor Party, they were all about the workers. They were all about looking after workers' rights. And the right-wing party was all about, who cares? Let's just make money.
Man, I wish the Labour Party was the left-wing party, but I mean, they're pretty much a centrist party. Actual left-wing party in Australia are the Greens. And I think that it's kind of disingenuous to compare Labor to left-wing when they have a lot in common with Liberals. I'm not saying they're the same party, but they have a lot in common with the Liberals. And I think it's worth noting. Not the same. They're not the same. Labor is definitely better, but they do tend to vote pretty similar on a lot of things.
Unfortunately, for people who have been left-wing for a long time, and maybe their parents were, and maybe that's why they are currently, it has all shifted. This idea of a political spectrum is moving consistently. You see, right now, left-wing people are more of a cult than anything else. They're activists who only care and are only vocal about whatever the popular movement is at that time. They see straight white men as a group who is genuinely harmful to them. They're taught to believe and they spew forth ideas like the world is going to end tomorrow. Global warming. They want...
Straight off the bat, this is crazy. This is just like, what the fuck am I looking at? There's so much happening on screen. None of this is left wing. This guy has no idea what he's talking about. Like, you can't just throw up a bunch of, culture war TikToks and call that the left wing. And I think that's what frustrates me a lot with these, bros, these right-wing bros. They conflate left-wing politics with left-wing culture war issues. No one gives a fuck about, most of the things that he's going to talk about. Like, that's not actual left-wing politics. But let's see what he has to say.
Want the government to be more intertwined in our lives. Look back to 4 years ago. Who were the main proponents of the government becoming more and more involved in our lives and telling us what we can and can't do? It wasn't right-wing people. It wasn't them at all. They want more handouts. They think that no one should be overly rich, and so on and so forth, with ideas that, may be quite nice in theory, but in practice, perhaps they don't work as well as you'd think.
God, I hate this point when they say it sounds nice, but in theory, what is a theory? Like, what the fuck is a theory? Like, every time we've had, welfare policies implemented, it's helped millions of Australians. And if that's what you don't want, if you don't want millions of Australians who are in need, especially now in this economy, to not get the help they want and just call it a handout, then let's also stop the tax breaks. That's a fucking handout. Let's actually get these corporations to pay more tax than just $0 in tax. And I think that just goes without saying. Like, everyone agrees with that. That's a handout.
Worst of all, if you don't play by their rules, if you're not living by their doctrine, then you're not a part of their religion, then you're not a part of their cult, and you must be the enemy. That's a scary thing about people who self-identify as left-wing. If you're not exactly who they want you to be, then you're the enemy.
Okay, let's take a step back and let's cut through his bullshit. I'm left wing. I identify as left wing. I identify as socialist, communist, whatever catch-all phrase you want to call it. I just think that every Australian deserves to have good quality healthcare. Every Australian deserves free public school education and free uni and TAFE, whatever what they choose to do. I believe every Australian needs a house over their head. I feel like homelessness is a policy crime, as in it's a crime committed by the government to allow homelessness to happen. I think that if you get sick, you shouldn't have to pay any money to get better. I think that we should all collectively help each other. How is that, you know, how are we the enemy? I don't care. I couldn't, and me and a lot of left wing, most left wing people, of course, you're going to have a small group of like freaks in any group of people, but the majority of left wing people just want each other to live a dignified life. I don't care, what your beliefs are. I don't care what your religion is. That's the fucking point of progressive politics. It's that we need to look after each other regardless of who you are, what you believe in, whether you're conservative or you're not. I think that you deserve healthcare. I think that you deserve dental care into Medicare and mental health care into Medicare for free. That's literally all we believe in, helping each other out. So let's see what this guy has a problem with.
What I think we're seeing, and to wrap up this section of the video, is this. More left-wing people would be considered far left than right-wing people could be considered far right. People who are leaning in the middle or towards the right seem to be the most logical, dependable, and decent people in the modern era. And I don't think many people would have guessed that 30 or 40 years ago. Think about it like this. More people consider themselves communists than consider themselves fascists. There's a simple one for you. And I think all of us agree that fascism is bad and is deadly and is something we shouldn't adopt. But a lot of people think that communism is, even though it's killed more people by a considerable margin than fascism. But alas, I digress. So why are men moving? Why are they changing?
But okay, let's take away left wing, right wing. Let's just take away the entire thing. Most people don't fucking know where they stand. If you go by policy, that's the only thing that matters. Even left wing and right wing, like having that label on people, just completely, like, especially in a country like Australia, it completely defies, the whole point of it. Most people don't fucking know. Most people probably think they're right wing, but they're left wing. Most people probably think they're left wing, but they're right. Like, it doesn't matter. That's why we should go by policy and by policy choices, what kind of policies you believe in. That's the only way of knowing someone's true political opinion, not by asking them if they're left wing or right wing. If you just go by policy, do you believe in this? Do you believe in this? I think that is a much better way to understand someone's political opinion.
To think that men only voted for Trump because they want to be in control is so disingenuous. Like, it's ignoring everything else that is positive that comes from a Trump presidency. Think about how Joe Biden and Kamala Harris and how the Democrats in the US dealt with you as citizens. You weren't top priority. Other countries were top priority. Anybody else was top priority. They didn't give a shit about you. And the fact that some people actually think that America first is a bad idea for Americans is absolutely insane. I think we should do the same in Australia. We should be focusing on Australia first, the UK first. Fuck everybody else.
I honestly agree with this. I think that as a country, we need to look after our own. I think we need to look after our own citizens. In terms of, manufacturing, bringing that back to Australia, building our own manufacturing. Like, we have so many resources, but yet we sell our resources off to foreign companies who then sell it back to us, which is so idiotic and stupid. We need to take care of our own, and we need to protect our own, like, resources, people, country, like, there's so much we can do as Australians. And with America, it would be interesting to see if he brings up anything that Donald Trump has done in the past 2 weeks. It's not America first. It's Elon Musk first, buddy. Like, Elon Musk does not give a single fuck about America. If you look at the Doge firings, thousands of people just let off work. And then they've had to rehire them. Like, the whole thing, no one cares. Like, no one in American presidency right now, in Trump's office gives a single fuck about the Americans because it looks like Elon Musk is in control. And if you think that Elon Musk genuinely cares about people, you are completely delusional.
Look after your own shit. That's that whole Jordan Peterson thing, clean your room. You know when he released that book, 12 Rules for Life, and everyone made fun of him about cleaning his room? This is what they're talking about, all right? They're saying sort your own shit before you go out in the world and spend everyone's taxpayer dollars on shit that doesn't fucking matter. So many males are angry and want something to blame. Fox News has told conservatives that if they are not sex gods with $100 million in the bank and abs of steel, it's because of immigrants, welfare, feminism, liberals, etc. Okay, I don't think that's overly true. This is one of my favorites, though. This is one of the reasons that men are heading towards the right. Okay, ready? Humor is often taken too far. Dark humor is becoming a trend, especially amongst young men. And while even I find it funny time to time, there has to be a limit. Shut the fuck up.
I believe that as well. I think that that's completely stupid, first of all, especially in comedy. I feel like you can say anything you want. As long as it's not hate speech, you can make any joke you want. And it comes back to the whole Samirana incident, India's Got Latin. Like, obviously, India is, you can't even talk about this in India. But in Australia, we have free speech. In America, you have free speech. And I think you should be able to joke about whatever you want. Just as in Isaac Butterfield joked about whatever he wanted after the Christchurch incident, and he got a lot of shit for it. And I think that he had every right to say that joke. And at the same time, I think the people had every right to voice their opinion. He's not cancelled. He's still selling shows. He still has a YouTube channel. It's not cancel culture. People just didn't like your joke. You have every right to make any joke you want, and people have every right to give their feedback on your jokes. As long as it's funny. I think like you can say whatever you want as long as it's funny. The more risky the joke is, the more funny it has to be. That's literally that's stupid. I agree with him that it's stupid. You can't put limits on comedy like that.
I think Trump makes guys feel powerful and sexually dominant by putting women back in their place in society. Okay. I don't know if that's true either. There was one I agreed with, though, and maybe this is why. Number 12, the 12th reason. From the outside view, straight white males get the worst deal in current society. Those guys can't win. They are told that they are 100% racist, misogynistic, and transphobic. They're told that they're a more unsafe option compared to a bear. There was a trend going around that would you rather be around a male or a bear in the woods? A lot of women chose the bear, which answers the question that women don't know much about bears.
And I don't understand this whole crying about men not being enough, straight white males not being enough, like it just, I don't understand it. Like this whole, man or a bear, like when men cry about, not being valued. I think that when it comes to mental health, that's a completely separate thing that we need to talk about. But there's a lot of insecurity in men that the slightest threat to them by women or by someone else, they feel completely insecure and they voice this out in different ways. But this is so stupid. Like no one's saying every straight white male is 100% racist, misogynistic, and transphobic. No one is saying that. If you are those things, then you're probably getting told those things. But no one's fucking saying every white man is a racist, every straight white man is misogynistic. Like, this is so stupid.
Here's why I think men are moving more towards the right, or at the very least, the goalposts are moving, right? Young men are sick of being told that they are the problem, that they should be blamed for all the evil in the world. And on top of all of that, told that being masculine is a bad thing. Men are told that they shouldn't be going to the gym all the time. They shouldn't be thinking about that. They shouldn't be listening to these.
Who's saying this? Like, genuinely, who's out there saying this? I'm in Australia. You could call me a gym bro. I love gymming. I go to the gym every single day. I'm comfortable in my masculinity. No one's out there saying shit to me or to anyone else that I know. No one's fucking saying you shouldn't be gymming, you shouldn't be doing this, you shouldn't be doing, like, no one cares. It's only when your male insecurity is harming someone else, that's when I think it's completely right to be called out on. But if you're just looking after yourself, if you're just, doing your own shit, like, I don't know where this straw man argument even comes from. No one's saying shit. Maybe it's just a white people thing, but no one said shit to me. I've been a gym bro for years, Like, I preach it. I preach fitness. I preach going to the gym, looking after yourself, being the best that you can be, the best man that you can possibly be. I've never heard any of these words in my whole life. No one's saying anything to me.
Particular podcast. They shouldn't be making types of jokes. They shouldn't be playing these types of sports. Don't do masculine shit. Don't do this. Don't do this. If you do this too much, you'll be considered this. All of these rules and regulations that are now set out in our society are all targeted at just dudes trying to work out the world. Dudes are the enemy from the very beginning. Even when you're a child and in your first years of school, you are taught that being a boy is bad. And girls are being taught that the boys are to be feared. And this has been going on for well over a decade now. This is an entire, probably more than just one generation, maybe 2 or 3 generations have grown up consistently with this messaging happening. And now these young men are becoming adults and they're thinking, hang on, I'm not the enemy at all. Why are people saying this? I don't feel welcome in this group. So then they go and find a group they do feel welcome in. And that group just so happens to be
the incel community. Man, I've literally never heard this before. Boys, if there are people saying this, that boys are the problem, girls are the problem. I feel like this comes back to my point, is all of this shit, especially all these culture war issues, like, oh shit. Especially all these culture war issues around being a boy, being a woman, it's being bad. It's a distraction. It's literally culture war distraction tactics. And I can assure you that anyone who's actually on the left believes in the shit that they believe in, they shouldn't fall into these culture war issues, because all we care about is making sure everyone feels safe, making sure everyone has a roof over their head, like I've said several times in this video. And you have these people, especially just happen to be conservatives, happen to be right-wing people, bringing in these culture war issues from America, this transphobia, this fucking misogyny, all these right-wing issues that are corporate friendly. All of a sudden, they're bringing this from America to distract from issues that actually matter, especially when it comes to immigrants, when it comes to racism, when it comes to all these things. They want you to believe that the reason why you can't afford a house is because of the immigrants. They want you to believe the reason why you feel so threatened, you feel so shit, is because of women saying that you are. They want you to be divided against each other, because they want you to distract from the fact that these people who are controlling the country, controlling everything, are getting away with so much. That they're getting away with, these billionaires are getting away with paying no tax. These gas corporations are getting away with price gouging us and selling us ourselves our own resources back to us at inflated prices. They want to distract us from rising grocery prices, distract us from so many things, the housing prices. The more we fight with each other, the more we fight, like, I'm a man, you're a woman, I'm gay, you're not, I'm trans, you're not, like, they want us to fight within each other because it helps them to create culture war tactics to distract us, so that people don't ask them, why are houses so expensive? Why don't we have rent control? Why don't we have dental and Medicare? Why are Medicare prices so expensive? They don't want us to ask these questions. They want us to ask questions like, why do trans people compete in sports? Or, why is it bad for me to be a straight white male? It's complete bullshit. And no one fucking cares about these issues. I do think it is a problem that a lot of young men are buying into this, that the reason why they can't be successful, like that the reason why they still live with their parents, the reason why, they're still so dependent, the reason why they're not successful is because of immigrants. The reason why they can't afford houses is because of immigrants or women or DEI policies, or because of colored people coming into the country. The more they want you to believe this, the less they have to answer for. And I think it is an issue, but we need to not lose sight of our goal, which is implementing left-wing policies in the government. Left-wing policies like Medicare with full dental and mental health care, like housing reform, building thousands of social housing at market prices, public school education, actually properly funding public schools and having strong government programs to move away from coal and have a green renewable energy deal, which provides a lot of jobs, which actually creates a lot of jobs for Australians. These are the things that are important, not the culture war issues, not trans people, not gay people. It's the only thing that matters is Australians. And don't let these people divert your attention from what actually matters. So you're going to see in this next coming up election, there's going to be a lot of cultural war issues because Peter Dutton loves to compare himself to Trump and loves to bring in whatever Trump's doing. So beware to see a lot of attacking at public sector workers, a lot of attacks at abortion, a lot of attacks at trans people, a lot of cultural war issues. Beware that it's going to happen. And people like Isaac Butterfield, they're going to just help keep making it worse. Men have the right to be men, and women have the right to be women. And anyone who wants to be anything have the right to be whatever they want to be.